This is Eric Rattan of Cannibal Corpse. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast with Andrew McKay Smith.
Merry Christmas, and it's soon to be a very happy new year to you. Thanks so much for tuning in, because I've got a conversation with a local fella from just up the road, as a matter of fact. It's rare that I have an opportunity to chat to someone from Brisbane and Queensland in general, but I do in this instance. Jesse Nikolic, he's the guitarist and frontman in Regular Gonzales. The reason for the conversation is due to the launch of their album. It's been out for a month or so now, and it's titled Beige Alert. In this conversation, we deep dive into Jesse's, I would say it's a considerable technique that he wields there on the guitar. I'm digging what I'm hearing there. It's part Tom Morello, part Refused, part some other stoner grind stuff. And if you like that type of guitar playing, there's plenty of it here on display. So before we get to the chat, let's have a listen to a tune, and the one I've selected is titled World's Weight, taken from the album Beige Alert. Let's go. let's have a chat about this album of yours, Powerful Beige.
Yeah, the Beige alert.
How long has it been out for now?
So it came out on November 19th. So what's that? A bit over a month now. Yeah.
What's reaction been like? Is it? I know you've been around for some time doing what you're doing. You're a 4ZZZ alumni. You've been played on there a fair bit. So has the reception been what you hoped?
The reception that we've received has been like overwhelmingly positive, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm a bit of I'm going through a thing at the moment where I'm comparing what we're achieving to other people, which is never a good idea because you'll never be happy with comparing yourself to the best of social media.
Oh God, yeah.
It's a hard cycle to break. But no, like if I really think about it, like such a welcoming response. Like the album launch we did, all our friends were there. It was a great vibe. Like it's been really good. It's just the nature of the musician. You always want more. But I'm very happy with with what people have been saying about it, and more importantly too, like we're happy with it. Like it's the record we wanted to make. So yeah.
Where was the album launch? Was that in the Valley somewhere?
Yeah, so it's at a little place called King Lear's Throne. The band, it's I don't know if you know the place, but yeah, it's about the size of... Yeah, great. It's about the size of a phone booth cut in half. And but yeah, we filled it up with our friends and had a great time, so...
Yeah, killer. Yeah. Look, I enjoy the album. I like your sound, actually. Lee sent it through about a fortnight ago or so. And look, at first, when I was listening to it, I was thinking that you'd incorporated sounds from groups like Refuse, Meshuggah, Sleep, and Electric Wizard. And then I started to think, hang on a sec, there's some Tom Morello in there. There's some Rage Against the Machine. And then I started to hear the Stoner Groove emerge, which is where I started to go to more of my Eyehategod and references from the Phil and Selmo universe. So, look, I think you've got a lot of that, a lot of what I just mentioned in your sound overall, but there's a heap of unique stuff that you guys just do for yourself, particularly with your guitar playing. I've got to say, I am a musician too, and I love the way you're approaching playing your guitar there. So that's my thoughts on the album, just very high level. Do you agree with what I've said, and would you add anything else?
Man, well, first of all, thank you. Like a lot of those comparisons are very humbling, in a way. That's great. I'll be honest, a couple of the bands you mentioned I don't even listen to, or I wouldn't have said are an influence. But certainly, I like what you said, Meshuggah. What was one? Eyehategod was one of the ones you mentioned. I honestly... I know the band. I don't listen to them, so but certainly like the Meshuggah, sort of all that stoner groovy sort of stuff, the Tom Morello vibes. That was kind of an accident. I think it's just because I use a Digitech whammy, so it's kind of you can't not sound like Tom Morello if you're using the whammy,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, just talking about your guitar playing though, because you do have a very identifiable sound.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear you. The sort of guitarist that if I walked into a rehearsal room myself, because I'm a bassist, and I heard your tone, I'd be like, fuck, we're going to have a good night tonight. So, you know what I mean? Like some guitarists, they want to be Slash. Others just don't have anything distinguishable or identifiable. But you've got something which makes you sound like you when you've listened to you for long enough. Is that intentional, or is that just something that sort of evolved because, that's just how you play guitar?
Yeah, I think it's... it's probably just a bit of a combination of both. It's the sound is, because we're only a three-piece. The sound is really me trying to make the most of the three-piece sound. So I'm not really doing lead breaks because there's no rhythm guitar to back me up. But at the same time, I don't just want to do rhythm. So that's where all of the sort of weird time signatures and that thickened sort of Digitech whammy like octave sound comes from. Trying to make the most of only having three people in the band. And then, I guess just, like everyone, you try to copy your heroes and you get it slightly wrong, and that's the history of rock and roll pretty much,
Yeah. No, I know as a bassist, like I'm all about Doug Wimbish and Billy Gould, Faith No More, these sort of guys, Les Claypool, these are the guys that I grew up with, and Norwood Fisher from Fishbone and those guys. And I still beat myself up at the end of the night that I didn't nail a lick that I was inspired to try out, courtesy of Doug Wimbish's playing or something like that. And it's that pursuit of glory, I think, isn't it? Where you're inspired. You don't really want to be too influenced, but you want to be inspired by these players to sort of play at a level that you perceive that they play at.
That's it. Yeah, I think it's sort of mashing your influences together and then seeing what comes out. Like I really love the insane rhythms and technicality of like Dillinger Escape Plan combined with something like just those hard hitting grooves of like Every Time I Die, or the weird grooves, but that still somehow you could nod your head to, like you get in Botch, and then like just stonery goodness like The Sword,
Nice.
stuff like that. I think when you put all of that together, that sort of comes out as a Gonzales song.
Yeah, I like what you just said then. Yeah, The Sword. Yeah, I'm just going to pull up because I had a chat to the guitarist in that band a couple of years ago. They're an impressive band, aren't they? Yeah, Kyle.
I've loved them since Guitar Hero 2. They had a song on Freya. They had a song on Guitar Hero 2. Loved jamming out to that on the old PlayStation 2. And then later on, I was like, I should actually, check these guys out because this song's pretty sick. And sure enough, they got a great catalogue of music.
They do, yeah. Kyle, the guitarist, he's a good bloke too. It always helps when they're a decent fella to have a chat to for a quick interview, half an hour or whatever it is. But yeah, outstanding band. I think you're the first person to actually bring them up as an inspiration. So there you go.
Ah, wow, yeah. They were my sort of intro to like that sort of stonery, just like big riff sort of sound, which now I'm super into. But yeah, when we started as a band doing metal, it was those guys that sort of pushed me into the sound that we've got. Before that, it was really me just trying to copy Dillinger Escape Plan, Every Time I Die, Converge, and Botch. But then, mixing that with that big southern doomy riffy stonery goodness.
I get you. Yeah. And look, you've already mentioned it in terms of the beats that you're using, but look, there are some gnarly polyrhythms happening there. Like I had to, you tap things out. I couldn't tap out some of them because they're in 7-8 time signatures or something's going on there.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not technical that way, to be honest with you. I mean, I can play it, but I can't count it out properly for the purposes of what we're doing here now, having a chat. But
sure.
I mean, look, from that perspective, like, do you write a guitar riff and then just think, how can I fuck this up by putting a gnarly polyrhythm over it? Is that what happens, or how does that work?
Kind of, yeah. So, actually, you've pretty much nailed it. I just really, I don't know. I've always said, like, if someone asks me, well, what sort of music are you into? I can never really give a genre or something. I usually just say interesting music, stuff that if it's something I haven't heard before, I want to hear it. So, like, when I was getting into metal, and it would be like, System of a Down, and then I got into Children of Bodom and that whole melodic sort of death and stuff like that. And then a friend discovered Dillinger Escape Plan, and I was like, I'd never even heard any band playing anything that wasn't straight 4 or, like 6/8, 12/8 sort of thing. And so that for me was like, wait, you can do that? I would, if I had a friend, I remember specifically where like in high school, and he wrote this riff, and now that I think about it, it was probably accidentally in 7/8 or something, because we didn't really know how time signatures work. But I said to him, I was like, no, you can't do that. Like, it's against the rules. You have to be able to count to 4, when you're writing these songs. So, realizing that, wait, you don't have to do that. And it just opens that door to like a whole other avenue of, of sound and rhythm. And it keeps you guessing. That's what makes music interesting to me, is that sort of, unexpected, sharp turns in a dark tunnel.
Sharp turns in a tight tunnel. I knew you'd have a phrase there to sum up what you're doing, because that's what it feels like at times. Like look, to be honest, I get sent a lot of shit, dude. Really, like so much music I get sent, and
I can imagine.
It's not that I'm nowhere like, it'd be a lie to say I can listen to something for 5 minutes and I got it figured out, because that simply isn't true.
Yeah,
it takes a couple of days. But your stuff was the type of stuff where it's like, okay, this is where I started to think, okay, I can hear Refused. I can hear the Meshuggah style thing, like a bit of a dent thing coming in. But then all these other things started to become revealed, and they do, because, you do take very, like, the changes are abrupt, and that's a good thing, because it feels like as though you're writing and you're going, okay, this is the song, and it might be a 4/4 rock song, and then you go back and revisit it with your drummer or with some loops on a a program or some software or whatever, or an app or what have you, and you think, how could I make this thing so obtuse, that so right angled that it's going to sound interesting on the 100th listen. And that's such a big challenge when you're a songwriter, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really important to me. That you've nailed it there. That having that repeatability. You know, if you want to listen to a song 100 times and you're still learning or you're still hearing new things, you know, some bands will do it with layers. You know, there'll be just so many different instruments, or you know, the progression is it goes from A to B to C to D, all that sort of thing. The Gonzales songs, really, like if you break the songs down, there's maybe 4 different ideas in a song, but they're so mishmashed and kind of out there, you don't really see it coming. And yeah, trying to keep you guessing on the first listen, and hopefully still being interested in the 10th, and yeah, you said going on from there.
Yeah. I mean, look, and you've sort of alluded to this bit at the upfront of our conversation here, which is you're comparing what you're doing with other bands. Now, I think I know exactly what you're talking about there, and I think you might be okay. So when I say I know exactly, my interpretation is that you're talking about how do you cut through and get your music to the audience that you know is going to appreciate your music by working out how to work in with social media's algorithm to get the Rage Against the Machine fans, for example, all 50 million that like their bloody Facebook page, just 1% of that to give you guys a listen and maybe become fans of you guys as well. Is that what you were referring to when you were comparing yourself to other bands?
I think it's maybe a bit of that, but you know, people, it's hard to get people to try something new. So being able to say, oh, it's like Rage mixed with Weird Time Signatures or something, like that's a good jumping off point for someone who goes, oh, I like Rage and I like Weird Time Signatures, maybe I will give that a shot, you know. So but when you mention like social media and such, I don't really I don't know, I feel like I've had a bit of success with social media, but it's also like it's soul crushing, man, you know. The best success we've had is honestly just memes, you know. If you can come up with a couple of good memes that people sort of you know, relate to your band, then that's a good launching point, and you can build maybe not a following, but you build a bit of culture. You know, you get a few friends and a few memes together, and you've got a good time.
Yeah. I mean, look, you struck me as we've only been speaking for 15 minutes or so, but you strike me as a fairly upbeat and happy type of a person. And I think to be successful on social media... Depends on the day you ask, man.
Depends on the day you ask.
Yeah, I know. Look, same for me too, man. God, I have shockers some days. And look, I think social media, it's just such a hard thing to be consistent with, and that's the key. So you can have success with one meme or one post or whatever, and you're like, wow, I'll do that again, and like 4 people like it, and you're like, but I gave you what worked last time. And it was my worst subject at uni. Like, I think I got just got a credit, like 65%, you know. And I'm thinking, why is this thing so difficult to get your head around? It just strikes me as, I reckon, I got to say, as a musician myself, I find that the most, and far more to the point, a podcaster, and with what I'm doing with the website and all that sort of stuff, I find the social media side of things the most challenging aspect of it by far. Is that similar for you?
For sure. I think you tend to look at social media as like the real world. So when you don't get, you know, a good response from a post or something, you feel like you do take it really personally, even if it's a dumb meme or, you know, you're just posting about your album or something. If it doesn't get the response, you do feel rejected, but it's hard to keep that mindset of like, you know, no, there's 8 billion people, everyone's posting to social. The algorithm is not going to push every post you make, you know. It's tough to remember that while you're also putting in these high effort posts, or, you know, you've spent money and you've spent time and effort on a music video, or, you know, you put your music on YouTube and you post it to Facebook or Instagram, and it gets a handful of likes, and it's tough to remember that every like, even if you put a meme up and it gets 5 likes, that sounds like a failure. But if there are 5 people in a room and they all specifically said to you, oh man, I love that meme you made, that is uplifting, you know. And it's like, you got to remember that sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's the same. I have a bit more than a handful of the same people that communicate with me regularly online, and they're all offshore. They're all outside of Australia about the podcast. And yeah, man, I'm just grateful to have that interaction, that audience at this point. And I get a lot more people listening to the podcast than that. But in terms of the people that are highly engaged, that's about what I've got. And yeah, you do. Sometimes you got to go, you know what, we don't have big machines behind us. You don't have a massive record label behind you like Sony. And I don't have I don't have Spotify behind me in terms of like Joe Rogan does. So from the perspective, there's no advertising dollars here, really, is there? We just get the audience that sort of stumbles over us.
Exactly. It's all organic, and you just got to put stuff out there and build the audience. It is a super slow process, and we're so used to, with social media and with the internet and such, we're so used to instant gratification. It's hard to. Our brains are not designed to be like, okay, let's check in 6 months. Like that. Your brain just cannot fathom that. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Hey, what about lyrical themes on the album? Was there anything you decided to address specifically?
It's kind of. I have a really hard time with lyrics. I kind of feel like I have nothing unique to say. I never really was super interested in lyrics or poetry or anything like that. Even with my favorite bands, I don't really pay attention to the lyrics. It's more of a rhythmic and a sonic device rather than the actual message for the most part. So it has taken me a long time to write the lyrics. That's why the record took so long. The music was done for a year before I finished writing the lyrics.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. But I kind of have this default position when writing lyrics where I just seem to stumble into these themes of it's like a combination of societal decay, like we are doomed as a species, but then it's combined with this weird sort of like bittersweet, like maybe we'll make it if we work together. Like it's a weird combination where it's like we're doomed, but maybe not if we're friends and cool to each other. So that's kind of the overarching theme, I think, of Beige Alert, and it kind of that's what the title of the album sort of retroactively means. Beige Alert itself is a line from Futurama, as is the name of the band, Regular Gonzales. Like it's a joke, but Beige Alert sort of retroactively is like it sort of seems like, especially these days, especially in the last couple of years, it's like you can really see like the themes of society like kind of falling apart, and no one really seems to be that bothered by it. Like we put up a post on Instagram, but like no one really seems to be wanting to do much about it. So it's like we're not really at a red alert, we're kind of just at a beige alert. Like that's the kind of idea of the album.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Yeah, I mean, God, the amount of conversations that I've had, particularly over the last 2 years, I'm talking about COVID, and you just feel the energy being sucked out of people. It's tough. You can't expect people to be at 100% all the time, and a lot of people get, we get burned out, and that's sort of, I guess that's the vibe of the lyrical stuff. Is man, it's hard, dude. What's next for you guys then? Okay, so you've been able to play at King Lear's Throne. I think I saw a photo of you guys playing at Vinnie's. So you've got
we were there last week. Yeah,
I mean, you're playing the places you can play. Really, is there the possibility, God willing, of interstate touring and that sort of thing?
I'd love it. I haven't really done it many. I haven't. Look, I'll be honest. I haven't really traveled much in my life. I'm very much a stay in one place sort of person. I never got the travel bug, when I was coming up or anything. But look, I'd love to. I'm open to it. There's only 3 of us. We don't have management. We don't really have anyone working for us and sort of advocating for us. So it would all be up to me essentially. And it's just, man, it's a lot of work, and it'd be a lot of learning for me. I don't really know much about it. I'm interested, but it's going to be a long process if it happens. Although I'd love to,
Yeah. I mean, look, you're doing what you can. You've got a day job. You've got a killer band here. It sounds like as though 4ZZZ are behind you as well. Is that the case? You're getting some airplay there?
Yeah, we've got some airplay from a few shows on 4ZZZ, which I'm very grateful for. Daniel from the metal show, I think it's called Valley of Death now. They just changed the name. And Michelle, who used to be on the show, has stepped down, and they've got I think I'm going to get the name wrong, the Doom Hippie or something like that. Right. I haven't listened to the show since it changed hands because it's all very fresh and new. But Daniel's always been a big fan of the band. He gives us spins when we put new songs out. We've got Jodie Flange. We've been talking recently on the Punk show. She's given us some spins, so much appreciated in that regard. So yeah, nice. A bit of 4ZZZ support as well. Also, we're part of the Schema Collective, which is a group of Brisbane bands, sort of putting on gigs and trying to build that community of weird sort of off-kilter musicians who don't really fit in properly anywhere else. So we've got good support from our Schema Collective brothers, and Schema and Triple Z are going to be working together hopefully. And
okay,
As
I say, brother, you're doing what you can. You got a killer release here. I mean, anybody who enjoys hard-hitting rock and metal It's not that when I say with a twist, that's a cliche. What I'm saying is that if you love listening to very well written hard rock and metal that takes you in directions that you don't expect, I don't know whether anybody's doing what you got better than what you guys are doing right now. That's
wow,
how it's.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Look, occasionally you hear a record like yours, and you're like, I've got to say this occasionally, not very often, but you should actually be far bigger than what you are in terms of you should have more attention than what you've got. But you're battling against all of the same things that we all are out there on the social media algorithms and stuff. And look, I think fate plays its ruthless hand as well.
Yeah, of course. It's hard to cut through the noise. Like everyone's trying to get somewhere, and yeah, that's just part of the game. You just got to keep plugging away and pushing it to people who are interested. I think what helps is, not having that. I don't want to criticize any bands, but you do get a lot of bands who have that. They're using the same presets. They're using the same drum triggers, drum sound. They're using the same compression techniques and the same recording techniques. And the records do kind of all melt together and they sound the same. Whereas we're completely independent. Like I recorded and mixed and mastered the whole thing just myself. It's in the garage. When there's no auto tune, there's no. Okay, I'm almost lying. There's a bit of sample replacement on the drums, but not much. But I just tried to make it sound a bit unique and try to make it not sound like all the not top 40 metal, but that sort of ultra polished sort of vibe. It's kind of messy. We're not really perfectly in time. There's a couple of mistakes, but that's
good.
What real musicians sound like.
It is what real musicians sound like. I get fed up with all this quantized bullshit. I can't listen to it, actually. Can't touch it, And the worst album that came out in recent memory, even though it was a few years ago now, was that Metallica album, Death Magnetic. And
it's fatiguing, man. It's hard. You can't listen to more than a couple of tracks. You get burned out immediately, yeah.
You get it. I can't do it. You put it on in the car and it's just like this wall of Lars, and
that's nobody wants a wall of Lars.
No. I wish Lars would just step out of that bloody band and let someone like Chris Adler come in.
Hit up our socials for more Lars bashing, because we're always coming up with some Lars bashing memes.
Oh my god, yeah. Look, I've done fairly long, and I've done like when I was in 4ZZZ, I did Metallica shows and stuff, and when you really listen to that band, you can hear the devolution of them, courtesy of Lars.
Yeah.
You can hear him sort of peak in around 1986, and then just get worse.
You can hear him get richer, and you can and caring less.
With all due respect to people who might be follically challenged, you can hear as his hairline recedes, he just gets worse. It must be like 4 or something.
I take issue with that as a follically challenged individual. I take issue with
sorry.
that.
Yeah, there you go. I put my foot in it there. But Lars is just. Look, they got one of the best rock and metal bass players of all time in the group these days, and you can't hear him on album. It's just so strange. Like they just.
That's bizarre.
I don't get that band's. I don't get that band's success at all. I just don't.
No, I never got into them when I was younger. So maybe like for some people it's a nostalgia thing, but I don't. I just don't get that sound, and I don't get what interests people about that band.
No, look, I was a kid when, so I'm 43, and I didn't get into them in Lightning and Puppets. I was way too young then, but Black was the album that came out when I was about 13. So, of course, everybody got into that. But then I listened to it and I thought, they've got to have some other shit. So I went back and got the other 2 albums and spun them for the next few years continuously, like Lightning and Puppets. I did do that. I'm not saying I didn't, because I did. But
yeah,
you sort of you mature a bit from the perspective that you start wanting to listen to more technical stuff, and you find bands like Morbid Angel and shit, which is what happened to me, and black metal and stuff, and you start thinking, God, they're a gateway band at best, Metallica, but they're just a lot of people's gateway band.
Yeah. We could have been listening to Meshuggah that whole time, man. Where do they start? Like 89 or something? Like we could have.
You're not wrong.
Instead of Metallica, it could have been Meshuggah this whole time.
As soon as I heard shit like At the Gates and In Flames and stuff back in those days, I was like, well, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Like he literally dropped Metallica like a baby. It was like, it's done.
Yeah,
it's
you're
gone.
just like, oh, great. I don't need these guys anymore. I've got good music.
Yeah, it just sounded out. Honestly, to be honest, it just sounded completely out of date when I heard Carcass and stuff. I was like, This actually sounds like it. This is the music that I like, and Morbid Angel was very heavy, Obituary, all of that stuff. It was like I kind of understand the It's drinking music, Metallica, I think, at best. I don't know whether... I just don't know. As I say, man, we've already said it, but just how many people like that band, and casual metal fans, like they don't like any other metal band, but I love Metallica. It's like, how? How is that the band? Why isn't it, I don't know, like we're saying, Meshuggah? Like, what happened? But
I'm at a loss to explain it. Yeah, that's us. Yeah, me and you just saying how about Metallica is, I'm sure, riveting podcast material if we keep going down that road.
Oh, look, it comes up a lot, actually. And look, the thing about Metallica is, look, they're the gift that keeps on giving from an information and content perspective. So, but mate, look, we'll finish up. And in terms of your social presence, and I always ask this of the audience, support the band by purchasing physical product, because that money goes directly to you guys. Well, I certainly hope it goes directly to you guys. So how can they do that?
Yeah, sure, man. So we do have a website. I update it when I remember and when I figure out how to, but I'm pretty sure the web store works at the moment. So you can go to regulargonzales.net. We do have a store on there where you can buy the new album, you can buy shirts. We also have like print on demand on, I think there's a link on the website, but so like a print on demand store, there's no upfront cost to us, which is great. We only get like $3 or $4 per shirt, but we don't have to spend $1,000 to make, a whole bunch of shirts first. So, that's cool too. Bandcamp, whenever there's like a Friday, when they waive their fees, that's awesome. All the music that's on Bandcamp is all pay what you want. Get it for free if you want. I'm honestly, we're not at the point where making money is a serious, thing. It might get us some beer money here and there, but we're not really pushing for it. We just want to, spread the riff, man.
You're doing a good job, mate. And I'm on the website now. There's plenty of T-shirts there. You got your CDs there. $25.
Yeah, cool. We will have vinyl for the new album as well, which is super exciting. There's just like a global vinyl shortage. I don't know. I submitted the order in like October, and they're like, yeah, maybe next year. So like, it's coming. If you're interested in vinyl and you like our sound, it sounds super thick. Like the test pressing went great. I really like it, but yeah, it's just it'll be a while yet. But certainly, if you like it, follow us, and we'll keep you updated.
Yeah, blame Adele. She's literally the individual that has caused this global vinyl shortage. You know that? Because
was it Adele's fault? I'll give her a call. I'll have a word with her.
I can't understand it. I mean, her audience. Vinyl is for engaged musical fans, not for Adele fans. Yeah. So but apparently there was some. Look, hey, you only know what you read, and you don't know where the source comes from. But apparently there was something like a couple of 100,000 pre-orders of vinyl from her, which basically sucked every other band dry, except for maybe Metallica and those bands.
Adele, like, they've got a global audience, so whatever they put out will sell out, so that's, if they decided to do vinyl, then of course the world is going to run out of vinyl. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, there must be a lot of depressed young ladies or ladies out there on their third Chardonnay pressing click, I want that vinyl. That's all I can think, because isn't that who listens to her? I mean, I'm in a covers band, so I've played a bunch of her stuff, but it clears the floor. It's not like
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a bit like it's the other band that does it is the Chili Peppers. And it's weird. You think, hey, there's millions of fans out there for different reasons. Yeah, it's like you play anything else but Under the Bridge by Chili Peppers, it clears the floor. And Adele, you play some of their stuff and people like the Rolling in the Deep song or whatever, and people are like, hey, I don't want to stay on the dance floor and dance to this. And you're like, but you buy this shit or listen to it at the very least. Don't you want to hear it now? No, they don't. They want to hear Kaysan.
Well, who can blame him? Kaysan, come on.
But look, killer stuff, mate. Yeah, I enjoy it. You can tell. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you, man. Thanks for taking an interest, and thanks for the chat, of course. Oh, well, there you have it. And sorry to all of the Adele and Red Hot Chili Pepper fans out there, but yeah, I've seen it with my own eyes. Behind the bass guitar, as soon as we play either artist, the dance floor clears, and we can't have that being covers musicians. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and I'm the host of the Scars and Guitars podcast series. Thanks so much for tuning in to that conversation with Jesse from the outfit, Regular Gonzales, talking about the album Beige Alert. I hope you're having a great festive season. You had a you had a tremendous Christmas and you're looking forward to doing something special on New Year's Eve. If you listen to this before New Year's Eve, if you listen to it after New Year's Eve 2022, I hope it was a good one. It's bye for now.